Hey everyone, I'm really excited to share something really fun with you today. The amazing Renae Clark sent me a gift, her 2025 colouring planner. She even included a pack of her beautiful stickers. Thank you so much, Sarah. This planner is so cool because it's not just for organising your life, it's also for colouring. I picked the classic size and I chose the undated version. Why undated? Well, sometimes life gets busy and I might miss a few months. This way, I can jump back in at any time without feeling behind. To start using the planner, I'm going to colour the opening pages with 8 different art supplies. I want to see how different tools work with this planner, and it's a great way to test it out. The first page I'm colouring is the title page. I grabbed my Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, which are amazing for their bright colours and their smooth blends. I picked a colour palette from the Colour Cube, also by Renae Clark, using one of her cards for inspiration. As I coloured, I noticed that the planner's paper has the perfect texture, not too smooth or too rough. It's great for layering and blending without any issues. The pencils work beautifully and the colour turned out so vibrant. I want to use this planner as a hybrid between a traditional planner and a bullet journal. What usually gets me unstuck with bullet journals is having to set up all the monthly spreads, goals and trackers. With this planner that is already done, the only thing I need to do is add in the dates and specify the goals I'm tracking. I'd like to track content creation with this planner, both to plan ahead and to monitor the milestones I've reached. I'll also be using it to track personal goals like my health and fitness, which are incredibly important to me. Lastly, I'm going to do something I've never done before. Track the dates for shows and movies I want to watch. I often see interviews with actors about upcoming shows that look so good, but by the time the show airs, I cannot remember the name of the actor or the streaming service or even the show. It's so frustrating. It will be great at the end of the year to see the goals I have met and where I need to improve. Here's the finished page and it looks amazing, and it was a relaxing way to start using this planner. It only occurred to me as I was finishing up the page that the actual design is the same as the cover, and that is a very cool little Easter egg. For the next page, I decided to switch things up and I used my acrylic markers. As with the previous piece, I selected my colour palette from the Colour Cube, which made the process so much easier and cohesive. It's such a helpful tool for keeping my colour choices both inspiring and harmonious. The acrylic markers were awesome to work with. The colours are really bold and vibrant and they stand out a lot on the page. Every stroke felt solid and smooth, and it's really cool seeing how quickly the page starts to come together. Even though the markers are a wet medium, the paper didn't get damaged at all. No tearing, no warping, nothing. The final results look clean and modern with sharp lines and colours that really pop. Overall, acrylic markers are a solid option if you want something that's easy to use and makes your art look striking straight away. To complete the page, I actually started putting some of my goals in, but I decided not to do this for the other pages as I really want to think about my goals for 2025. For the third page, I decided to try out my Derwent Intense pencils. If you haven't used these before, they're pretty unique. They are like watercolour where you add water, but once the colour dries, they are completely permanent. This means you can layer over them without accidentally reactivating the previous layers, which is super useful for adding depth and details to your artwork. As I was planning the page, I noticed that the illustrations actually includes versions of the Colour Cube cards, so I thought it would be fun to replicate the card I was using on this page. It was a cool way to tie the artwork back into the tool I've been using for my colour palettes throughout this project. When I started blending the Inktense pencils with water, the colours really came to life. They have such a rich, vibrant finish, and it's satisfying to see how bold they can look just with a little bit of water. It almost feels like magic watching these pencil strokes dissolve into smooth, painterly washes. That said, I realize there's definitely a learning curve with these pencils. Controlling the amount of water and figuring out how to layer colours without overworking the page are skills I still need to work on. Even so, I am happy with how the page turned out, and I'm excited to keep experimenting with intense pencils in the future. These pencils are definitely something I'd recommend if you're looking for a medium that's a mixture of drawing and painting. They're super versatile and add a ton of character to any project. For page 4, I decided to take a big risk and try something totally out of my comfort zone: metallic foils. I've seen people use them in their art before and they always look really incredible. They are so shiny, and the almost magical effect that catches the light is so cool. So even though I had a feeling it might get messy, I thought, why not give it a shot? Metallic foils aren't exactly the easiest thing to work with though. Getting them to stick was way trickier than I expected, and yeah, the mess was real. By the time I was done, it looked like a glitter bomb had gone off on my desk, and here's the kicker. 2 weeks later, I'm still finding tiny specks of glitter in random places. It's like the glitter is trying to move in permanently. Even with all the chaos, the results were kind of cool. The foil did add an amazing shimmer and sparkle to the page. Overall, trying metallic foils was a messy, tricky, and maybe even a little chaotic, but it was kind of fun. Would I do it again? Only if I could figure out how to lay down the glue more precisely, and if you give me a hazmat suit for the glitter explosions. For the next page, I used my alcohol markers, which are amazing for smooth, vibrant colours, but often bleed through the paper. To avoid ruining the next page of my planner, I tried a layer of clear gesso first as a protective barrier. The gesso worked perfectly, creating a smooth textured surface that stopped any bleed through. It didn't affect the marker's performance either. They glided on smoothly and still blended beautifully. Colouring with the markers reminded me why they're so popular. The colours were bold, streaks-free, and blending was surprisingly easy. The gesso layer did not get in the way at all, making it a great trick for projects like this. While this technique worked wonderfully for a colouring page, the gesso's slightly textured surface may not suit detailed illustrations. Still, I'm happy with how it turned out, and I will definitely use this method again. If you're worried about marker bleed through, I would totally give this hack a try if I was you. For the next page, I used watercolours that Christy Rise kindly gifted me. She sent me her Making Art for Joy's Sake palette along with a stunning rose gold travel brush and a small watercolour sketchbook. I've been holding onto these beautiful items for a while, waiting for the perfect project to try them out. This page felt like the ideal opportunity to showcase her palette colours and the thoughtful tools she included. Thank you so much, Christy, for this amazing gift. Christy is known for her breathtaking floral watercolour work, so I initially thought about painting flowers to honour her style, but instead I decided to use the paints here in this planner first. Rather than focusing on a single subject, I wanted to let each colour in the palette take centre stage. It was so enjoyable to explore the range of hues to see how they interacted on the page, with each colour prominently showcased in its own way. The rose gold travel brush was such a joy to use. It had such a light balance of flexibility and precision, making it perfect for both broader washes and finer details. Combined with the colours from the palette, it felt like every stroke was intentional and so satisfying. Overall, it was a calming process, exactly the kind of experience Christy had intended when she designed her palette. She is all about letting the painting just be stress-free and just to create happiness. I had a lot of fun with this planner page. I am not a watercolor expert. I can't tell you anything about blending. I can't tell you a lot of things about watercolor, but it was just fun and the colors went down so beautifully and vibrantly. There was probably a little bit of warping to the page, but I always try to make sure that my brush is not too soaked in water. I'll actually usually dab off the extra drops of water, so that way I am picking up enough water to pick up the paint and let it go down. I never want extra because I don't want to ruin this book, but I think this page is cool, and look, you can see every color and they all look amazing and beautiful, so it gives you a really good indication of Christy's palette and everything that she's put into this. For page 7, I decided to use jelly gouache. It's been a while since I've worked with gouache and I'm still figuring out how to handle this tricky medium. It's definitely different from other paints that I'm used to and takes some practice to get the hang of. What I do love about gouache, it is kind of versatile. You can use it like watercolor with light washes or layer it for bold, opaque coverage. The colors in the set were so vibrant right out of the box, so I didn't need to do any mixing, which saves me so much time. I was a little worried about how the paper would hold up with both the gouache and the watercolor as mentioned before, but the planner handled it surprisingly well. There was just a little wrinkling, but nothing that made it too difficult to work with. Overall, using jelly gouache was a good challenge. It's a medium I want to keep practicing with because it always looks really, really beautiful when I see people use it, and I'm happy with how this page turned out. It was a great way to explore what gouache can do. Gouache is that one medium that I really don't know what I'm doing with. And look, I only have this jelly gouache set, so it's probably not the best set, but a lot of people can create wonderful art pieces with this. I am always so blown away what people can do with gouache. I see their Instagram, I see their YouTube videos, and they create these beautiful illustrations. And I absolutely love this medium and really would like to be able to learn what they do. For my final page, I decided to use some of the affordable water-based markers I got from Temu last year. I did unbox these in an art haul, but hadn't really given them a proper test until now. Since this was my last page of this project, it felt like a good opportunity to try them out and see what they could actually do. I'll admit, I didn't expect much from the $12 a set USD markers for 120 markers, but I was pleasantly surprised by how well they actually do perform. The colours are vibrant and apply pretty evenly considering the price point. It's always nice to find suppliers that are actually affordable and hold their own against more expensive brands. One thing I did notice though was how different the two tips worked. The fine tip ends were loaded with ink and they had a tendency to bleed through if you use them heavily, which was a little bit frustrating. On the other hand, the brush tips worked much better. They were easy to control with no bleeding and they made colouring large areas feel smooth and effortless. Overall, these markers turned out to be a solid option for casual colouring or quick projects. They may not be perfect for detailed illustrations, but they're a great example of how affordable art supplies can still be worthwhile. I would definitely recommend them to anybody looking for budget-friendly tools to use and experiment with. Ending the project with these markers felt like a fun, laid-back way to wrap everything up. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and it inspired you to try out different art supplies in your own colouring books or planners. It's such a fun way to get creative and I'd love to hear about your favourite tools and techniques in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and lets me know you want more content like this. I've got plenty of exciting projects planned, so stay tuned. Before I go though, I want to thank you for the amazing support this year. Hitting 1,000 subscribers was a huge milestone and it's all thanks to you guys. I am so grateful for every comment, like and share. It means a lot to me. Thank you again for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!